Hello everyone, welcome to Fullmoon Movies. The Killer is not just a landmark of Hong Kong action cinema. It is one of the most emotionally charged crime films ever made. Watching it today in Shout Factory 4K restoration, the film feels both operatic and intimate, a tragic ballad of violence, loyalty, and redemption that defines John Woo's pure cinematic language. From the very beginning, The Killer establishes its tone not through exposition but through mood. Rain, neon lights, slow motion gunfire, and the mournful music immediately signal that this is not a conventional crime thriller. John Woo frames violence as ritual, almost religious, where every bullet carries moral weight. Now, the 4K presentation enhances this atmosphere dramatically. The deep blacks, glowing whites, and heightened contrast gives the film a visual density that suits its mythic tone. At the center of the story is Ah Jong, played with quiet intensity by Chow Yun-fat. He is a professional assassin, but John Woo strips away any glamour associated with the role. Ah Jong is defined not by his skills, but by his guilt. One accidental act, blinding an innocent nightclub singer, sets the entire narrative in motion. From that moment onward, every decision he makes is driven by responsibility rather than greed. Now, this moral anchoring is what separates The Killer from the most action films of its era. Chow Yun-fat's performance is restrained, almost internalized. He doesn't overplay remorse, instead he carries it in his posture, his silence, and his eyes. In 4K, these subtle expressions become more visible, the micro movements of regret and resolve are clearer, making his performance feel even more human. Ah Jong is a man already spiritually dead, trying to do one last good thing before disappearing. Opposite him is Inspector Lai, played by Danny Lee, whose character functions as his film's moral mirror. Lee is not a clean-cut hero. He bends rules, engages in brutal tactics, and operates in a moral grey zones. Yet Wu gradually aligns the two men, not as enemies, but as reflections of one another. They are both professionals trapped by system they no longer fully believe in. Their relationship built on mutual recognition rather than trust, which is the emotional spine of the film. One of John Woo's greatest achievements in The Killer is how he redefines masculinity. These men are violent, yes, but they are also emotionally expressive, capable of loyalty, sacrifice, and grief. Friendship and honor matters more than victory. The famous church finale is not just an action set piece, it is a spiritual reckoning. Guns fire like prayers, doves flutter like symbols of lost innocence, and blood stains the floor like the final confession. The nightclub singer Jenny, played by Sally Ye, is another crucial emotional anchor. She is not a passive victim, she represents the possibility of grace. Her blindness is both literal and symbolic. She sees Ah Jong's humanity long before the world does. Wu frames her presence with gentleness, often isolating her in light of stillness, creating a stark contrast to the chaos surrounding her. In the 4K transfer, the softness of these scenes is beautifully preserved, allowing the emotional beats to breathe. Visually, Shout Factory's 4K restoration does justice to Wu's stylistic extremes. The slow-motion gunfights, the balletic choreography, and the use of dual pistols all benefit from improved clarity. Grain structure remains intact, preserving the filmic texture rather than polishing it into something artificial. Colors, especially reds, blues, and stark whites, feel more deliberate and expressive, reinforcing Wu's operatic intent. Also, I would like to add that the artwork on the Blu-ray box set is well done, representing red as in the color of the blood, and the Blu-ray box itself is more sturdier, and the package comes with booklets with essays about the film. The disc includes both the 4K, Blu-ray, and the bonus disc. The sound design is equally important to The Killer. Gunshots are thunderous but rhythmic, often synced with music rather than realism. The score leans heavily into melancholy, underscoring the idea that every act of violence is also an act of loss. In a modern home setup, the audio mix gives these elements greater spatial presence, enhancing the immersion without overwhelming the dialogues. Narratively, The Killer is deceptively simple. It's a story about one last job, betrayal with criminal organizations, and the pursuit of redemption. But Wu's layers this simply with thematic depth, questions of fate, moral depth, and whether redemption is earned or merely hoped for. The film never pretends that good deeds erase past sins. At best, they allow a man to die with meaning. Compared to later John Woo Hollywood films, The Killer feels raw and uncompromised. There is no irony, no self-awareness, no concessions to audience comfort. It believes completely in its own emotional logic. Now, that sincerity is why the film continues to resonate. Modern action cinema often borrows Wu's aesthetics, slow motion, dual pistols, dramatic standoffs, but rarely captures the emotional convictions behind them. Now, in the context of Wu's filmography, The Killer stands as his most tragic and spiritually focused work. Hardboiled may be louder, faster, and more technically extravagant, but The Killer is the soul of Wu's cinema. It is where style and emotions are perfectly aligned. The Shout Factory 4K release reinforces the film's legacy rather than reframing it. This is not a reinvention, it's a preservation. The clarity allows new viewers to appreciate Wu's visual grammar, while longtime fans can rediscover the film's emotional precision. It reminds us that great action cinema is not about spectacle alone, but also about feelings. Ultimately, The Killer endures because it treats violence as tragedy, not entertainment. Every bullet fired carries consequences, and every act of loyalty costs something. Now, by the time the final movement arrives, the film doesn't ask for applause, it asks for reflection. Now, in the 4K, The Killer feels timeless. It remains a defining statement of honor, sacrifice, and doomed brotherhood. Few action films actually dare to be this sincere, this mournful, and this beautiful. John Woo didn't just make a genre classic, he made a cinematic elegy. Now, this movie is a must watch.